Trump and Republicans backed by far right-wing billionaires like Elon Musk and right-wing media and anti-woman manosphere podcasts are creating social media or gaming social media apps like X Twitter in Trump's favor and pumping disinformation into the brains of Trump supporters. Not quite foreign interference, but not exactly different from what Vladimir Putin would do.
So Joy Reid from MSDNC is at it again with her out of this world delusional takes about the way that Trump is running his campaign. But they're so out of touch with reality. I kind of find it to be an excuse. So when Kamala Harris loses, they'll be able to run with this type of talking point. So before we go any further, let me play you the first part of this segment. Watch this.
At this point, you can't call what Trump is running a campaign. As friend of the show David Corn points out in Mother Jones, what Trump and J.D. Vance and House and Senate Republicans are running is a massive disinformation campaign aimed at warping Americans' reality. And they're doing it with violent, terrifying, and sometimes bizarre conspiracy theories that set the table for maybe armed resistance to a Kamala Harris win or mass acceptance of American fascism. Trump and Republicans backed by far right-wing billionaires like Elon Musk and right-wing media and anti-woman manosphere podcasts are creating social media or gaming social media apps like X Twitter in Trump's favor and pumping disinformation into the brains of Trump supporters. Not quite foreign interference, but not exactly different from what Vladimir Putin would do. And in many ways, the disinformation campaign is working. Base Republicans today believe everything from Democrats secretly manipulating the weather from a secret base in Alaska to Trump being incapable of losing this election. He's winning in a landslide. And some Democrats are starting to believe the disinformation, too.
So obviously, Trump's campaign strategy is not disinformation, okay? What it shows you is that his campaign has been very effective at highlighting the actual issues that Americans are experiencing instead of this fairy tale joy messaging and Trump is all bad that we hear from the Kamala Harris campaign. There's a difference in the messaging. Her messaging is all about his character. His messaging is all about you. So yeah, Joy Reid, you're wrong on that one, of course. The second thing is most people who are Republican or conservative or who support former President Trump, it's not that they are obsessed with conspiracy theories. The problem is one of the biggest conspiracy theories that you guys said it was, which was COVID, ended up to be true. When Trump said that it was from China, you guys called them racist and said that was misinformation, disinformation. When people told you that kids don't need the vaccine, you called it misinformation, disinformation, and a conspiracy theory, right? When we talked about the Hunter Biden laptop story, you guys called that a conspiracy theory as well. Now we find out 4 years later that all of that was true. So is it that Trump supporters are obsessed with conspiracy theories? Or is it that you guys failed to do your job as the media to run the actual facts instead of pushing propaganda talking points as if you guys are an activist organization? And of course, Democrats enjoy the benefits of being funded by countless billionaires. Do we need to bring up George Soros as an example? So finally, the one famous billionaire, Elon Musk, who decides to support Trump and also owns a social media platform. Now you guys are crying foul. I find that to be so interesting. Didn't Mark Zuckerberg fund the Joe Biden campaign? Haven't so many other corporations, billionaires, and other media personalities and Hollywood celebrities all fund the current campaign? So should we call them out too for what they're doing and their misinformation and their lies? I mean, why is it that they accuse someone of the most egregious actions just because they disagree with them politically? I find that to be insane. And if anything, what Elon Musk has been able to accomplish is once again being overlooked by this Democratic Party. They don't treat him with the respect he truly deserves. His accomplishments in this day and age are second to none. And it's only in the history books, when it's all said and done, people will look back and recognize him for the greatness that he is. So I guess the next idea that's on the chopping block when it comes to their excuses on why she's going to lose this election is she's making the case that these polls are now being manipulated to favor Trump. I know. How does that make sense? Take a look at this clip.
Have you noticed how sharply the polls have shifted in Trump's favor over the last couple weeks? With these claims that Trump is surging with Black and Latino voters and leading in every single swing state, according to secret internal polls, despite all the Hitler talk. Yes, this race will be far too close. Because unfortunately, we do have a fascist groundswell in parts of this country, mainly among white men, let's be clear, but in small pockets among Black and brown men, too. This happens to be a global phenomenon as women become more economically independent and seek positions of power. But friend of the show, Simon Rosenberg, points out that just like in 2020 and 2022, dozens of right-wing polls have been dumped into the marketplace in the last few weeks, 12 in Pennsylvania alone. Those polls then swing the polling averages to the right, making Trump look strong and Kamala Harris look stalled. Now, there are lots of explanations for why you'd want to game the polls. Entrepreneurial Republican pollsters can certainly gain favor with Trump, who's apparently fuming about Vice President Harris's billion-dollar fundraising and positive press. And then there's the more sinister explanation that if Trump, Republican pollsters, and even jittery Democrats convince enough people that his victory is inevitable, how much easier would it be to claim that the election was stolen if he loses? And how much easier would it be to get his base to rise up and maybe even get violent the way they did when he lost the last time? How much easier would it be to get the Republican House Speaker or John Roberts and the right-wing Supreme Court conservatives to throw the election to Trump? These are the things we need to consider. Donald Trump is not running a normal election. He's talking America into damn near a civil war to terrify voters into supporting him. And if that doesn't work, he's laying the groundwork for insurrection 2.0.
You see, this is why I stated that what they accuse of Trump of doing is exactly what they are doing currently in this moment now. Majority of the polls out there are all left-leaning. Do we need to remind you that? Democrat funded, by the way, okay? And most of the people responding to the polls are not Trump supporters. These are classical liberals and Democrats. So tell me how, just because you had a small batch of Republican or conservative owned polling that came out recently, how is that a manipulation of the polls? If we look at the totality, which is if we go back at least 2 weeks of averages, there has been a shift. Like if we see with the ABC poll, the NBC poll, the New York Times Siena poll, these are all left leaning. So that right there is an example of your conspiracy theory that you're trying to push, Joy Reid. I find it funny that you accused Trump supporters of being obsessed with conspiracy theories, but I think you are the actual one that's obsessed with conspiracy theories, especially when you start saying that Trump is pushing for a civil war. What data, what numbers, what stories, what hardline evidence supports that claim? That is 110% your opinion. And you are supposed to be a journalist. And listen, I know MSDNC, they're not even real news anymore. They are an extension of the Democratic Party. So I'm not even going to hold her to that standard. But can you at least have some level of truth inside of your own opinion? And you just don't on this. So civil war, it sounds like you're the one that's actually trying to scare people. Again, you're accusing Trump of using fear tactics. But isn't this a fear tactic from you? And of course, election integrity should be a concern. Why are we changing laws at the last second? Why is the DOJ suing Virginia at the last minute? We're about 2 to 3 weeks out from the election. People have already voted. Why is that taking place? That is an appearance of where there is bias in the system. And the only cure to this is transparency. If the government was truly transparent about 9/11, there wouldn't be any conspiracy theories. If the government was truly transparent about the 2020 election, there wouldn't be any conspiracy theories. If they were truly transparent about January 6th, there wouldn't be any conspiracy theories. When transparency is absent, conspiracy theories expand. It's that simple, cause and effect. So don't get mad when people are questioning the election when you guys keep withholding the actual truth and the facts. Now, obviously, I am biased. I am going to be voting for Trump. I do not believe Kamala Harris is actually equipped to be the next president of the United States. And no, it's not because she is a woman. It's because her messaging this entire time has been about things that have literally nothing to do with me or my neighbors. And that's why I want to take some time and play you a clip from a Democrat who wants her to win, criticizing her message and debunking the deranged lies from Joy Reid. Check this out.
But, part of this is it's a game, right? And there are no rules. There were norms. The norms have gone out the window since 2016. It's winner takes all. And Trump is going to say whatever it takes to win. And Kamala Harris, I think, has done a very bad job. And the reason she's in the position she's in right now of defining herself and putting out a proactive message that resonates on the economy, on migration, that also undercuts her opponent. And so that's why. And, again, going back to this election is going to come down to 7 states and tens of thousands of people in those 7 states and appealing to them and educating them. And I think her schedule has not reflected the urgency in the calendar of where we are. I think that she's not out flooding the zone the way she should in far-reaching interviews. And I think their ads have been largely ineffective. And so that's the answer. I mean, it's our job. I'm a Democrat. It's our job as Democrats to educate people on these things and win them over. And right now we're failing at it.
That's why Trump is winning when it comes to the Latino vote, the Black vote, because he talks about the actual issues. Yes, did Kamala Harris just recently drop her exclusive policy agenda for Black men? Yeah. Should it be exclusively for Black men? No, it actually should just be an implied thing. She should have dropped that a month ago at a minimum. But you could see how they struggle with identity politics when it comes to policy. They think it's just enough to tell someone, well, because you're Black and because she's a person of color and she's a woman, you should vote for her. Screw the issues. It doesn't matter if the last 3.5 years have been terrible for you. Just vote for me anyway, and we'll figure it out after the fact. Why? Because we believe Trump is a threat to democracy. Well, the only problem with that thinking is this. If Trump is truly a threat to democracy, why is Kamala Harris the candidate? Why wouldn't they put up someone more competent, more confident, with a better record and can sell the message better than her? Makes you really wonder, do they truly believe he's a threat to democracy, or is it that they just personally do not like that someone who's from the outside, a businessman, was never in politics, figured a way out to become the president of the United States and is running again, and that definitely challenges everything that they stand for or believe in and their way of doing things in Washington? I'd like to say it's the latter, of course. So maybe Joy Reid should just focus on the facts, focus on the policy issues, look in the mirror and really ask the question, why are people not supporting Kamala Harris, and leave out the perception of identity politics? Because if you truly believe in that stuff, that means your perception about every single topic that comes up is automatically flawed. And that means you can't look at things from a neutral perspective. And so maybe she should probably focus on that instead of these conspiracy theories, these fear tactics, this dangerous rhetoric talking about a civil war. Maybe you should stop sounding exactly the way that you accuse Trump of doing or saying. I find that to just be so interesting about her take. But hey, that's my opinion. What do you guys think about what Joy Reid had to say? I know you don't care to hear anything that she has to say. We know this, but we like to address the truth, bring it out to the open, debunk the lies, and call out this nonsense because we know people are eating it up. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. And if you haven't heard the big news, Kamala Harris did agree to do a Fox News interview with Bret Baier. I was able to break it all down. And if you want to see that video, click on it because it's coming up right now.